If you did not get into a residency program this year and you have to reapply, watch this video until the end to learn ultimate tips to get into a residency program next year. Make the next match your last match. So let's get into the tips. First thing that you need to do is to revamp your CV. Your CV is basically everything that will be on your ERAS application. You need to get someone to critically review your CV to ensure that you use strong professional language that would entice programs to want to invite you for an interview. You need to ensure that you use correct language structure, accurate grammar, and spelling, and that none of your CV is plagiarized. Aside from ensuring that you have an extremely well-written ERAS application, you need to make sure that you gain valuable experiences that you can input into your CV or ERAS application to make it that much stronger. Also, ensure that you add any certifications that you have gained, whether pertaining to medical, research certifications, or BLS and ACLS certifications. Ensure that you add them to your ERAS CV. Oftentimes, IMGs are so fixated on their USMLE scores that their ERAS application is often poorly written, plagiarized, or not strong enough. So, if your writing is not your strong suit, or you don't think you have enough time to sufficiently develop a strongly written ERAS application or CV, this is when you probably need to consider a professional reviewing and editing service. These services are definitely optional. However, if you are reapplying, then you need to definitely revamp your ERAS application and have a stronger one going forward, especially if you have red flags in your application, such as low USMLE scores, USMLE attempts, and being a old graduate. I have services available that will allow you to counteract all of these red flags, put forward a strong ERAS application that will make programs want to interview you. To find more information about this, all you have to do is send me a message on Instagram, and I will leave a link to that in the description below. When we're applying to residency programs, it is extremely important that you put the right foot forward and prepare yourself for what's to come. One way of doing this is by doing the USMLE Step 3. The landscape of the USMLE journey is changing, with the USMLE Step 1 becoming pass or fail, residency programs seemingly becoming more and more less IMG friendly. So doing the USMLE Step 3 is a very crucial way of increasing your chances of matching. Remember that as a US medical resident, you cannot gain your license to practice medicine if you do not pass the USMLE Step 3. So passing the USMLE Step 3 definitely gives programs insights into the fact that they don't have to worry about this when it pertains to you. The USMLE Step 3 is especially important for those applicants that have a low USMLE score, they're old graduates, or they have USMLE attempts. The next thing that you need to do is to ensure that you have your ECFMG certification before you apply to residency programs. Many residency programs mention that they will need you to have ECFMG certification at the time of applying. If you don't have ECFMG certification at the time of applying, this will significantly reduce the number of programs that you can apply to. Don't get me wrong, you could apply to them, but then you will be filtered out because you do not meet this criteria. So if you are an international medical graduate and you have not sat both the USMLE Step 1 and the USMLE Step 2 CK, then I recommend that you get your USMLE score of your last exam by June or July before the application season starts. This is because at this time period, the ECFMG is very busy, and getting your ECFMG certification can be extremely delayed, and you have to have these scores available in order to get your certificate. So if you get your last score in June, you will give ECFMG a full 2 months and even a couple of weeks to get your ECFMG certificate so that you can add this to your ERAS application and apply to even more residency programs that you fit the criteria for so that you can increase your chances of matching. Another crucial step for IMGs is to gain US clinical experience, or USCE. Remember that for USCE, there is a bit of a hierarchy of how important it is, right? So for in-person US clinical experience, this is at the top of the chart. And then right after you have virtual or tele-rotations. And then you have clinical experience that you gain in your home country. So why getting US clinical experience is so important is because program directors want to see your adaptability and your ease of transition into the US system. They want to know that you are aware of the differences between your home country and US. Some programs even specify that you need a certain amount of US clinical experience in order to apply to their programs. The next thing that you need to do is to research the requirements of the specialty that you are applying to. So every year, the NRMP releases extremely important data telling you what exactly program directors value in applicants. If you are applying to specialties like internal medicine, family medicine, pediatrics, general surgery, and pathology, they really, really, really value the quality of your personal statement showing the dedication to the specialties. LORs written by US physicians that are very strongly written in your favor, and a good MSPE from your medical school. There are also other specialties that are not so keen on having applicants with low USMLE scores or have USMLE attempts. Such specialties include psychiatry, anesthesiology, OB-GYN, dermatology, and other highly competitive specialties. A drawback of doing residency in the US is that you cannot always go for the specialty that you want. You have to go for the specialty that you are best suited or qualified for. So if you really want to do dermatology, but you have low USMLE scores, you are an old graduate, or you have USMLE attempts, then you need to reconsider what other specialties you would be happy in doing or considering this USMLE journey entirely. But don't get me wrong, you can always have a chance of matching. It will just be extremely difficult for you to fulfill this. The next thing that you have to consider is what programs you select to apply for residency. So if you only apply to like 25 or 50 programs, then you really need to consider increasing the number of programs that you apply to in your next application cycle. However, if you did apply to 200, 150, 300 programs and you hardly received any interviews or no interviews, or you did not match or receive any offers, this is when you need to do an in-depth, individualized research of programs. Oftentimes, IMGs employ services from systems that automatically go through the different residency programs. But the thing you have to consider is that they are not always up to date and that there is some criteria that is missing. For example, some of them require you to be ECFMG certified at the time of applying. Some of these programs or systems do not have that as a filter. Or other programs would require you to have a certain number of LORs or a certain number of US clinical experience. But again, those systems don't have those filters. So you end up applying to programs that you do not qualify for in its entirety. So if you are adamant on getting those services, I definitely recommend going through again to make sure that you actually fulfill all of the criteria for all of those programs. The last thing that you want to do is spend thousands of dollars applying to programs that you are not qualified for and will be filtered out, and your application will not even be viewed by the programs. Another mistake applicants make is by shouting into the void of Facebook groups or Reddit groups asking them for lists of IMG friendly residency programs or for old IMGs. Remember that all IMGs are not the same. You all have different scores. You all have different US clinical experience, research experiences, work experiences, volunteer experiences. So you are entirely unique. So because of that, you have to do individualized research on programs. It is not a one size fits all thing. If it was, everyone would match, but it's not. So you have to do a lot of work and dedicate a lot of time into this. because IMGs often overlook accurately choosing the correct programs best suited for them. That is why I offer a service that allows you to get the best programs definitely well suited for you. Again, all you have to do is message me on Instagram to find out more information about this. The next thing that is overlooked by IMGs is their ERAS photo. Remember that your ERAS photo is the first impression that programs get of you. So you need to ensure that it is a high quality professional photo and you are wearing professional attire with a well suited background. And you need to ensure that your demeanor and appearance exudes confidence, competence, and friendliness. It's important to know that every part of your residency application counts, and you should not overlook any of it if you want to ensure that you are the applicant that goes matched in the next application cycle. Another thing that you have to ensure that you do is to adequately prepare for your interviews. Interview preparation is crucial because an extremely well written CV will get your foot into the door and allow you to receive interview offers. But it is your performance in those interviews that will play a huge part in dictating whether or not you match. So you have to analyze your CV and the requirements of the program or the culture of the program before your interview and adequately prepare and make sure that you know all that you need to know about that program and analyze your CV so that you can easily answer any questions being asked about it. If at this time you don't have the money to dedicate to an interview preparation course or services, then I highly recommend that you reach out to a friend that is extremely good at interviews so that you can be asked questions in a interview simulation and receive professional constructive criticism on your answers. And it's very important that you not only focus on what you say, but what you do while you're answering those questions. For example, you should avoid fidgeting or looking up at the ceiling while talking. And you should always appear engaged, interested, excited into what is happening with this interview while maintaining your professionalism. So all of the points that I just mentioned can be extremely time consuming. So it is very crucial for you to create a timeline of what you need to do and when it needs to be done by. That is creating deadlines for every single thing and ask for help if you need it. Again, if you need help applying to your next residency match, all you have to do is reach out to me on Instagram where I can provide you with more information about the services that I provide to IMGs. But just remember that reapplying is not the end. You still have a chance. Just take a breath, come up with a plan, and try again. And all the best on your journey to residency in the US. And if you want to continue learning even more about this process, all you have to do is click this video right here.